The Masjid Al Hidayah Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center in Port Coquitlam, BC is in the news again. And as we've said before, when this mosque makes the news, it's never good. In May, the former Imam Saladin Bar was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for sexually assaulting a female member of the mosque who had confided in him. Then, in September, it was revealed that a Canadian Revenue Agency audit discovered the same former imam had made at least $127,000 in questionable expense claims. And most shockingly, they discovered a link to the Qatari Eid Foundation, a known financier of terrorism, and one that has heavy links to Hamas militants. The CRA claimed the Islamic Society was at least influenced, if not controlled heavily, by the Eid Foundation. And do you know how the CRA and our federal government responded to all of this? Well, first, the CRA issued a whopping $9,000 fine for their improper spending. But get this, the CRA did nothing, nada, about the terror links, not even revoking the mosque's charitable status. And interestingly, the federal government just granted the mosque and Islamic Society $53,000 as part of a Ministry of Public Safety program to improve security of communities at risk of hate-motivated crimes. No word if the ministry has insisted that this money be used for security inside the mosque, as the only crimes committed to date were by the former imam inside the mosque's walls. Scott Bardsley, a press secretary with the Ministry of Public Safety, told Tri-City News, quote, "The Security Infrastructure Program, SIP, is providing funding for the Islamic Society of British Columbia to make a number of security improvements to address the threats they face," unquote. Nothing about the threats British Columbians might face due to this Islamic Society's ties to the Qatar-based Hamas front group, Eid Foundation, though. But all of this falls at the feet of the CRA, whose refusal to revoke their charitable status after the terror links were discovered kept the Islamic Society eligible for this grant. But should we really expect anything else from our virtue-signaling federal liberals? Is Justin Trudeau putting Canadians, including fellow Muslim Canadians, at risk just to pander to the Muslim community for votes? If this Port Coquitlam Islamic Society or any mosque was in fact a target of hate crimes, we totally understand the measures being taken. But in the aftermath of the sentencing of the former imam for sexual crimes, and the CRA's audits and the revelation of terror ties, this seems awfully brazen of the government, as if they are suggesting, nothing to see here, folks. So while I'm not convinced that there is a growing threat of Islamophobia towards Muslims in Canada, what I do know is that there is an uptick in mosques preaching and praising anti-Semitic Islamic scripture. Take just the latest example from another mosque in Metro Vancouver. This mosque belongs to the Muslim Association of Canada, which is separate from the Islamic Society of BC. But in late July, the Middle East Media Research Institute TV project uploaded a copy of the English language sermon given by a Vancouver imam, Tarek Ramadan, who had this to say about the state of Israel and Jews in Palestine.
Masjid al-Aqsa, as I said, is an amana in the hand of every Muslim. It is now invaded by Isabatun Denisa min Bani Israel. It is now under a gang of the worst kind of mankind, if you even call them as mankind, the Zionists, that have no mercy, no respect, no holiness, no respect for anybody, for any humanity. And it's not only Muslims that are suffering there, it's also Muslims, Christians, and other people are suffering. United Nations declared that Palestinian people have a right to defend themselves, and so we can give them any aid they want. Money, weapon, expertise, we're not going to be shy about it. So it is our duty, that's fard ain, that we all share their jihad and share their struggle against the Zionists. By all means necessarily, by all legal means and any Islamic means.
Look, I wish I could say sermons and statements like those are isolated, but as we know from our past reporting that mosques in Toronto and Montreal have had similar anti-Semitic preaching going on. And we all know why. Islamic scripture, be it the Quran or the Hadith, is full of anti-Semitic verses. There are dozens and dozens of examples, some of which we are showing you now. But all of this is constantly ignored by authorities in favor of fighting so-called Islamophobia. But be honest, wouldn't you be afraid as a Jewish person or a neighbor of these radical mosques, or even just anyone of goodwill, given what we know gets said inside those walls? For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Thanks a lot for watching. You know, you can count on the Rebel to expose anti-Semitic preaching in Canada's mosques. Make sure you click subscribe on Rebel Canada's YouTube page. Never miss an update.